them. Let's now, understand a bit more about the tribals in India. Mr. Vivekanand, if you could tell us, how significant tribals are a part of Indian culture and their own diverse culture. There are so many tribes, they have their own culture.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me in this discussion. And I must congratulate you to have thought about this discussion on this particular day when Prime Minister is inaugurating Adi Mahotsav. And as you asked, somewhere around 8.6 to 9% of the total population of India is constituted by tribal communities. And as it is a rough estimate say that if all the tribal communities of India were joined together and formed a new nation, it would be the 13th largest country in terms of population. Such is the population that India has. That is one aspect. And so what have we done for their development? So there are a lot of provisions that we have made legally in our constitution. And subsequently also you must have heard about the Panchayat extension to the Scheduled Areas Act 1996 and then 2006 the Forest Rights Act. So these provisions have been made, but still if we look at the tribal communities, their status seems a bit neglected or a bit backward in comparison to the communities which are living in the rural areas or in urban areas. So this one gap that has to be bridged up, and particularly since 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has and his government has taken some rapid strides and important strides in order to bridge the gap. Okay. For example, Prime Minister, when he was speaking at the inaugural speech of the Adi Mahotsav, he sort of laid out a very detailed roadmap in which he said, one thing is the cultural connection with the nature. That's very important when we are talking about the global warming thing, environmental protection.
It teaches us a lot about sustainable development.
Yes, sustainable development. And we must remember that tribal communities have lived in the jungles and forests amongst plant species and amongst animal species, but then they haven't destroyed them totally. And therefore, this is very important, which Prime Minister also has quite candidly mentioned in his speech. So therefore, when we are heading the presidency of G20, and when we are also talking about sustainable development issues and the protection in relation, the issues in relation to the environmental protection,
okay,
which we will devise and bring to the table for the international community to negotiate and discuss, I think we have a lot to learn from the tribal communities.
Okay.
Just one point that I wanted to make, that is how to live life with the nature and take only that much which is necessary to sustain ourselves. But as Gandhiji said, the earth has enough to suffice our needs but not greeds. And that is something that we still need to learn from the tribal communities.
Okay.
They are the real upholders of this idea.
Indeed, there is a lot to learn from the tribal communities, right, from their culture, from their way of living, from their wisdom as well, which they have gained over, centuries of their stay in the forest, in amongst the nature specifically, and in harmony, having lived with
very
the various aspects of nature as well. But also, the question also remains,